Are we awake yet? How is everybody today? Yay. I'm Amanda Haas, and I am a Whole Foods Market ambassador and a cookbook author, and I'm so happy to have been here all weekend hosting the culinary stage at the Napa Valley Film Festival. It's been a wonderful weekend, and I'm so happy that people are here with us this morning as well as we have our last day here. And today we're lucky enough to have Andrew Ackerman, the filmmaker of The Busboy. Has anybody had a chance to see it? Yes, woo, yay, all right. Well, I'm so glad we get to tell the story of that and have a great conversation around that, and of course tie the wine to the food. So I would like to introduce Chef Sandy Sauter. She's the executive chef for the CIA California for Public Programs. Come on out, Chef. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
I love, first of all, it's been a wonderful weekend, and you live and work right here, and so...
Right there.
Right there. So I feel very lucky to have you cooking with us. But as we get into the story of the film, which is a true story about someone I know, which is crazy, we're going to cook something that you tied to wine, which I love.
Yes.
So what are we making on this beautiful Sunday morning?
So, welcome to Brunch, boys and girls, and to Napa Valley. We tend to like to drink wine around here. How about you guys? Yeah?
We're already
Okay.
starting on
Yes.
is it a Stag's Leap Viognier, Dory? Yeah.
So, traditionally with brunch, what do you think of as far as beverages are concerned?
Champagne.
Yeah, mimosas, Bloody Marys.
Right.
Because sometimes it's hard to pair brunch foods with wine. But
Right.
so I decided to play around with that a little bit. So we're going to do a poached egg in a red wine sauce.
Wow.
With a potato herb waffle. So
Not
you
gonna lie,
still
she
get your
told me
waffle, but
yesterday.
it's savory.
Yeah, you told me you were making this, and I was so excited.
So yeah, I'm excited, and hopefully you guys will all enjoy it today. And please don't throw anything if you don't. Just pretend.
They all get to taste as we're cooking, which is fun as well. So you get to eat while we're doing the work. So how do you kick off this recipe?
All right. Well, if I can get some help kicking off this
Absolutely,
stove,
I
we
can
will
do
get the
that.
sauce started first.
So this is an induction cooktop, which
Yeah.
I loved this weekend. And Blanc Creatives, this beautiful cookware, if you haven't seen it behind us, is induction capable, and it's stunning. And you could also serve it, you could bring it to the table in this too, which I love,
Yeah,
right?
this is beautiful cookware.
How high of a temperature would you like, Chef?
We'll start nice and high like that,
Okay.
and then we'll adjust as we go.
Okay.
That's one thing always to remember when you're cooking. You're in control. The stove isn't in control.
Thank you. It's true, right? We're the boss.
Most
Bosses.
time people get really nervous about it. Oh, it's burning. Turn it
Okay.
down. It's fine. And then we're going to get a little bit of oil in there. And
Okay.
since this cooktop heats up pretty quickly, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there right now.
Got it.
And drop that
I
out of
can
my
be
way.
your dish. I can be your bus girl.
My
Thank
dish
you.
mover. And so it's heating up pretty quick. I can see it's moving around pretty well in the pan. When oil starts moving like water, you know you've gotten somewhere here. So Right.
pan.
I like to say that we like to teach the why behind everything instead of just do this, like a recipe says, do this, do that.
Right.
We like to tell you why you do it this way or that way, for that matter.
Okay. That makes a lot of
So
sense.
a little bit of shallots in there. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit now.
We're just
since
already
it's nice
oohing and
warm.
ahhing
Yeah,
over your food.
It's brunch time, boys and girls.
Yeah, it sure is. So I can't wait for all of you to try it.
I'm going to get some carrots in here as well.
So really
nice,
finely diced.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice base to this sauce. We want to have some of those beautiful vegetables in there. We don't just want red wine. We want other flavors to meld in there with it.
Yeah. So we're going to let those go for a couple
We're
minutes.
going to let those cook just a little bit here.
And while we're watching those, I wanted to ask Andrew to tell us a little bit about his film. Would you mind sharing the story?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great.
So the Busboy is a film about Bobby Stuckey, who's a master sommelier and restaurateur based in Boulder, Colorado, and that's where I live as well. And the film is, about how someone can exist at such a high level and in their career, in their profession, and also go towards relationship, go towards,
Right.
having a personal life,
Sure.
basically. I just feel like I see so many stories about the obsessed person who's the best and miserable, and I
Right.
wanted to see a different story.
Who's
kind of.
happy?
And, yeah, and it's interesting because Bobby's craft is making people feel genuinely welcome and heard.
Right.
The craft of hospitality. and wine is his vehicle, food is his vehicle.
Yeah.
So it just felt like such an interesting story of someone with a slightly different craft that we don't talk about as much. And it's like the craft of empathy, basically.
Wow,
So
that's such a nice,
yeah.
beautiful way of putting it, the craft of empathy. I always say when you're in this business, we all, whether you're cooking or serving wine, we're all here to make people happy, basically, right? And bring joy to people's lives, whether it's through food or wine. And he's managed to keep a balance in his life as he's done that.
And
Yeah, it's the vehicle to connection.
So it's beautiful.
that's quite something to accomplish. The balance is the hard part. in this
Exactly,
industry.
right?
It really is.
He's not there yet.
We're all working
The
on
film is
it.
about trying.
Yeah, and we'll get back to more of that as well. So are you going to deglaze this with the red wine?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
and we're going to get a
beautiful.
bunch of red wine in there.
So what kind of a red wine would you use? What sort of a varietal do you like?
So traditionally, I pulled from a Burgundian dish here.
Yeah.
So this is in France. This is called œuf amourette. So it's egg in red wine sauce. And I borrow from the best, of course. Doing it just slightly different. I made a couple little modifications, but trying to stay as traditional as possible here because what works works. They've
Exactly.
been pairing food and wine for a very long time. I trust them. So. So I would use a Burgundian wine,
Right.
You know, a Pinot Noir, something like that. You can
Beautiful.
certainly use something local.
Yeah.
Napa Valley wines are fantastic. So use a Napa Valley Pinot Noir and you're good to go. But I would use something of that style. And then, you know, if you paired it with that, even better.
Even better.
Even better.
Which is kind of a fun idea to do something for brunch, a red wine, right? Because and brunch can be anything from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. in many places. I laugh at when I
Absolutely.
go to New York, they're like, join us for brunch, and it's 5 at night. I'm like, I'm on my third meal of the day, but apparently not everybody works like we do on the West Coast.
Well, because nobody's caught on to the idea of Brenner yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we need to have Brenner.
This could be a
Right?
beautiful Brenner.
See? Anybody interested in helping me open a restaurant called Brenner? No?
Let's do it.
No, okay.
Let's do it. By next year, we'll see you there. So you're just going to reduce this? Are you looking for a certain consistency?
We're going to reduce it down to, you know, about half the volume that it was before.
Okay.
And then we're going to add in the veal stock
Oh my gosh.
and reduce that down. And this veal stock's already been reduced down.
Oh,
it's
so it's really
nice
rich.
and, you know, gelatinous. It's room temperature, so it's warmed a little. It's not refrigerator temperature. It would look like Jell-O if it was refrigerator temperature.
Right.
You could cut through it. But then once it starts to warm, it gets a little more viscous there.
Could
So
you
I'm
do
going to
beef
put you in
stock?
charge of
Oh,
this
good.
if you're
All
okay
right,
with
so
that.
what am I going to add it now? And
Yeah,
then
you
just
can
let
add it now.
give
Let it reduce
stir and-
down so that I can
All
start
of
the
it?
waffles.
Okay, terrific.
Because how are the waffles? How are the eggs?
How's
How's
the
the sauce? How's the
food?
food?
Very, very good.
Are you
For all those
happy?
who don't have a microphone, I'll speak for them.
We appreciate you. That's amazing. So as you start the waffles too, I also wanted Andrea to share a little bit more of Bobby's career, why the name The Busboy, for those of us who don't know.
Yeah, well, I definitely can't take credit for the name. The assistant editor came up with it. I'm horrible with titles.
You are.
I always wait till the very last minute.
Yeah.
But Bobby, so let's see, he was a pro cyclist when he was younger.
Crazy energy.
And he runs marathons constantly.
insane.
He's got insane energy. So
Yeah.
yeah, he decided, like when he was young, he had ADD, he had dyslexia, he was not a good student.
Right.
He was awful. And he had a ton of energy. So his parents put him, like, you have to get a job.
Yeah, figure it out.
And he went to the restaurant world, and
Yeah.
he says it's the one place he felt normal. It's the one place where
Lots
the
of people with
craziness
ADD.
of the world made sense to him. The pace of it made sense to him.
Right.
So he just kind of fell in love with that. He kept going, and
Wow.
at a certain point heard about Master Sommelier, and he just decided to crank on that. And 7 years later, he got it. And I mean, he worked
It's
at the French
impossible.
Laundry. Yeah,
But
it's such
when
a
I met
hard-
him and we realized we know each other, or I grew up with his cousin, he was here at the French Laundry and very young. I mean, but I could not believe he'd gotten through that program. It's the amount of dedication it takes to become a master sommelier.
People say it's the hardest test in the world.
Yeah, right.
And then at the French Laundry is where he met Lachlan McKinnon Patterson. They left to go to Boulder to try and start, the world's best neighborhood restaurant kind of thing. And how can we bring fine dining, at an incredibly high level to Colorado?
Right.
Between the coasts, right?
In a really casual, what I've heard, like beautiful atmosphere, but
Gorgeous.
much more Boulder than you would find at
Yes.
French Laundry or anything more
yes,
formal.
Definitely.
Wow, amazing. I love that his story has been told. It's pretty cool. Okay, I noticed, Chef, that you threw in a little something. Is this a bouquet garni?
Yeah, I gave you a little present over there.
Maybe a little present. What have we got in there?
Bouquet garni, so a little bit of thyme, bay leaf, parsley stems, little black peppercorns, and you just tie it up in a nice little package of cheesecloth. What I did right before I threw it in, though, was I took the back of my knife and I whacked it a few times.
Oh my
Whacked
gosh.
is the technical term
Yes,
for
it
this,
is.
by the way. So I whacked it a few times, and it just kind of helps release some of the oils within the stems that are in there,
Right.
and enliven it really quickly, so then it can release right into the sauce.
I keep saying I'm learning something, at least one thing during every demo, and that's going to be my takeaway today. I've cooked
So
for
whack
so many
it.
years, but why not whack it when it's in, like, boom, so much more flavor.
Just whack it. It's
All right,
fine.
we whack it, whack-a-mole. So what are you doing on the
right.
waffles over there?
So I just mixed together my dry ingredients.
Okay.
So some flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, sugar. And now I'm going to mix together the wet ingredients and pour them in there. So a little bit of buttermilk. I plan to have a lot of waffles. this morning.
Yeah, exactly. But the buttermilk adds some tang that you wouldn't have with normal milk. You like
Yeah, and it
acid
helps
in
to, with the acid, and it helps to activate the leaveners
Right.
that you have in there as well.
Okay.
So it's really helpful. So I'm going to get in some egg yolks. So my eggs were separated.
Okay.
And I have egg yolks here that I'm going to go ahead
You're
and
making
mix
like
in.
the real deal. These are going to be gorgeous waffles.
We
Now,
like
if you wanted to
have
cheat a
fun.
step, say you're having friends over for brunch and you want to poach the eggs and you want to do the beautiful sauce, we could do this. Could we do the sauce the day before?
You could do the sauce the day before, and I'll show you how to do the eggs the day before too.
Amazing.
Yes.
And then we could cheat with waffle mix if we wanted to.
You can, I guess, if you really have.
You're like, did you go to?
How about you mix the wet and the dry ahead of time?
Okay.
And then you just do this.
All
So,
right, here we go.
some butter, which
Yep.
was melted and cooled, and
This is when
we'll
I can
make this
heat it on
happen.
the
It'll be
cooktop for you if
fine.
you want. Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
be fine.
That's funny. I was going to say you don't want it too hot, right?
If it was the
Because it'll
afternoon
clump.
demo, it wouldn't have been a problem. But first thing in the morning, you got to deal with the weather.
We're going to fake it till we make it.
And then some parsley, because we want us to be an herbed waffle.
Right.
Parsley, some chives,
Okay. These are going to, are they delicious? Yeah, the
and some
herbs in it.
tarragon.
I love tarragon.
I do too.
Maybe a little less expected than some herbs.
Licoricey,
right? I'll
licoricey
get
type
these
of
out
gal.
Yeah,
All right,
so
this
delicious.
is just fitting in here. It's going to be great.
I was going to say, way to
I'm
eyeball
gonna
that
get,
one.
Well, yeah, I'm making a mess. It's fine.
You
It'll
got
be
it.
great. And then what we have here are some potatoes.
Okay.
So we already cooked them, put them through a food mill or a ricer.
Right.
After you peel them up, and then they go right into the.
Just russets?
Yep.
Right.
Just russets.
Okay.
Just kind of pretend like you're making a gnocchi here or something.
Right.
It's, but we're making a waffle instead.
I like all the ingredients
So.
I'm saying. You can't go wrong with any of them.
So now I will get that all in here together.
The sauce is smelling amazing.
I'm glad I got the bigger bowl for this part
Me
of it.
too.
'Cause that could have been ugly.
That out of
Thank
your
you.
way. You're welcome.
All right.
It's like magic place down here.
Yes,
Don't
it
look.
is. Magical things pay no attention.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just want to mix this until it just comes together. We don't want really tough waffles that are like a baguette.
So you don't want to overwork it.
Don't want to overwork it. That develops that gluten structure in there.
Right.
And we want it just enough to hold it together in the process of
Okay.
smashing it with something, but not enough that you have to rip it apart with your teeth. It should
Sure.
be nice and tender.
Okay, so it's okay if it's a little lumpy because the potatoes are
the potatoes are lumpy, so you're
Right.
never going to get this smooth. So don't even think about trying.
Yeah.
You're going to work way too hard and then have a very tough waffle.
Okay.
Meanwhile, what I need to do here, though, is whip up some egg whites. This is what gives waffles their nice fluffiness. So we have the egg whites because we separated them from the yolks.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
I'll take that for you.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Now, what am I looking for? Should this sauce be able to coat a spoon, or is there
Yes,
a visual cue I should be
absolutely.
looking for?
In France, we would call it nappe.
Okay.
I'm not from France, so I'm
it needs a
adopting
little
France
more
for
time.
the day as far as that part is concerned.
I'm happy
So
about
nappe
that.
just means it coats the back of a spoon really
Right.
nicely. If it coats a spoon, it'll coat the food, and that's what you need a sauce to do.
Right.
So we would just, you could take a spoon, stick it in there, and then run your finger down the back of it. And if it leaves a nice straight line, then you're
We're
pretty
good.
good because it's
Okay.
not running together.
I'm going to use one of these gorgeous wood spoons to do that when I think it's ready. Yum, sounds amazing.
Excellent. I'm just going to keep incorporating this while my egg whites get
Fluffy?
nice and fluffy.
Andrew, as someone who is not part of this amazing food and wine world by trade, right? You studied film. Was there anything that really surprised you about Bobby's story or just being in this environment when you followed him around for so long?
Yeah, definitely. I think what surprised me was how much intention went into a guest's experience. I think I've seen enough media and heard enough through popular culture with kind of like the chef revolution right now that I knew about chefs doing that.
Right.
But knowing this, like just seeing how hard he tried when someone would walk in to just make them have an amazing experience, it blew me away. He would think about it. He would strategize with people about it of like, okay, this person loves sparkling water. Like, let's make sure they have it when they sit down.
Wow.
This person wants to know their whole menu read out before there. Like, let's do that. And just the amount of effort he put into
every person.
And if they come in with in a bad mood, like, let's get them wine, let's get them food right away. They're hungry. They drove an hour, and that just blew me away. I'd never thought of that.
And I think it's what helps places continue to be successful. I mean, he's been there for how long now?
I think they're coming up on 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and they opened a new restaurant in Denver. Like they're kind of movers and shakers.
And continues to get nominated for. It's like a running.
Yeah, they just
joke.
won, right? They just won James Beard for
nominated
service.
for service, for wine. I mean, just top of his game continually.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that he can continue to compete and be so physically active as well. Yeah. Is that part of his success?
I think so. I think it's his outlet.
Yeah.
I think caring for people, like empathy is tiring at a certain point. You can't just give all of yourself to people all the time.
Got to fill the tank.
You have to fill the tank, and I think for him, running is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think running and biking is when he gets to just be in his head, and Colorado's beautiful, so he'll go in these amazing canyon mountain place. It's just stunning, and he just gets to be in nature. He gets to be by himself. He gets to move, and it kind of he keeps a high pace by having staying fit. Basically.
Yeah. Unreal.
Helps clear your mind of all the other things. I was just imagining when I watched it that he must have Google open on his phone all the time or something, just Googling all of his guests, like, okay, what do they like? And digging in.
It's just built into their whole system.
Is it really?
So when you call to make a reservation, like, is this a special occasion? Oh, yeah, I graduated. And then you'll get a menu, and it's printed on the menu. Congratulations. And they'll do all these things. And
so cool.
And then he'll just come and talk. And he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm an author, and I just published this book, or I'm working on this thing. And then next time you come in, that's in the notes. So during their pre-service, like, ask this person about how their book is going, how this is, and they just care. And so yeah.
That's incredible. I'm so glad you were able to tell this story because he's pretty remarkable.
Pretty remarkable, yeah.
Right.
And for for caring about people, which is just an awesome thing to be remarkable for.
Absolutely. So, talking about caring, as you're preparing the most beautiful brunch dish that we're all so happy to eat, you fluffed your egg whites.
Indeed, they're standing up really nice.
And to fold them in. So what's your secret?
So I'm doing about half of them first.
Okay.
So the first half is going to kind of get smushed by the weight of everything else in the process.
And that's okay.
But start to lighten the load.
Okay.
And then the second half will be able to hold its shape a little bit more. But we want to get it fully incorporated because you don't want just little pockets of egg white.
Okay.
Because that's really weird.
So I love how you're turning the bowl as you're folding them in, so you're just evenly getting it going.
So many times when I'm teaching a class to people and you see people trying to contort themselves around stuff, I'm like, just
move the
turn
bowl.
It's pretty, it can help you here. It's fine.
Isn't that funny? It's like one of those things somebody else does. You're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Never would have thought of it. So just trying to get that in there.
Okay.
And completely incorporated. Now this whole mixture is a little bit lighter.
Right.
So then the rest of the eggs going in, we'll be able to hold a little bit of their air. And the whole point is the air that's caught up in the proteins of the egg white here expand with heat. That's how all those beautiful hot air balloons fly over the valley every day, right? So they expand with the heat, which makes it a little bit fluffier.
I love the science behind it too. Sometimes I forget how magical it is that these things even work.
Art
right?
and science together. It's a beautiful world to live in.
Exactly right. And this is the same process if you're doing a souffle and you're trying to fold in the egg whites. I think it can seem
Right.
so intimidating, but just your tip too, do the first half, lighten it up,
And just
then
a
add the
nice
rest.
fold. And
Now it's gorgeous.
there's still like little pockets of flour. I was careful not to over mix in the first place because I
Right.
knew I would have to mix in these egg whites and that
Okay.
was going to work that flour even more.
And that's okay.
So that's okay.
Okay.
We'll get there eventually.
I'm turning down your water for the poached eggs if it's
Excellent.
okay. We've got a simmer
Yeah.
going,
Oh,
and I think
perfect.
you'll be happy
That's
with the
so
sauce.
fast. That stovetop is.
It is so fast.
So quick.
We were talking about induction yesterday, and because so many chefs are used to cooking on gas, and I've been cooking on induction a lot more lately, but it's so exacting, right?
Right.
It heats up so fast, cools down so quickly, and then when you take the pan off, you can literally touch it in a matter of minutes after that. I was wiping
Oh, yeah.
it down right after we were using it yesterday, too. People just saying, "You've got to be kidding me." It's pretty special.
All right.
All right.
Are we ready to try making a waffle?
I think we should make a
think we
waffle,
should make
and
a
would you like to
waffle.
judge my sauce, your sauce? What are we thinking?
sauce
It's
is
close,
looking
but
pretty good.
a little bit more.
So,
I don't think it's-
actually, I think that's pretty nice.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to use
because
this
we're
beautiful
also going
spoon.
to add a little butter and flour to it.
Oh,
so,
yay.
So we didn't want to take it too far.
Okay,
And
great.
I've got another pan here. Excuse
Okay.
me.
Magic.
And I'm just going to grab a strainer. Which
Great.
I'm spread out all over the place here.
Oh, now we're
and
talking.
if you want to
You
strain,
want me to do that here?
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
can strain it
I'm
in
going to
there.
strain it through. Okay, so we got the flavor from the
Just in
thank you.
case
We
you
got the
need that
flavor
extra
from the
one.
carrots and the shallot, right? But strain it
But
out.
now we strain it out because
And
we're
the
going to want a
bouquet
nice
garni.
smooth sauce in the end.
Gorgeous.
And while you do that, I will start a waffle. Ha ha ha. Now, I always go with a little insurance.
Yeah. Got to do what you got to do, especially on the first one.
Yeah, the last thing you want is, especially in the middle of a demonstration where it's all stuck in there and smoking and,
Right?
the waffle iron catches on fire. Of
We don't want
course.
that.
No. That's just embarrassing.
I'm pressing this through just to get more of the wine.
Oh,
Is that
wonderful.
okay?
Yeah,
All right.
get that flavor.
All that yummy
So
flavor.
I'm going to add a little bit of stuff here
Okay.
into the waffle iron. I've got my little waffle iron here is like
a
3
workhorse.
circles. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. So it's a little bit different shape, but just close
A
it
little
and let
more
it
of
do
this
its
yumminess.
job. We'll start seeing it grow in a minute here, which
Yeah,
is
I love
really
when that
exciting.
happens, right? Poof, poof, poof. What do you tell about?
All right.
Great.
And
Get
then
that out of
the
your way.
last thing is to finish this sauce and make some poached eggs.
Let's do
Anybody
it.
want to learn how to poach an egg today?
Who does
Yeah.
poach eggs? Anybody? Okay, good. I'm obsessed, and so I try different people's methods. Like I look them up online, and I try different things. So I can't wait to see what you do, because I'm crazy.
All right, crazy. Let's trade spaces here. I'll
Perfect.
take this.
Okay.
And then we just want to work a little bit of the flour and a little bit of the butter together.
Together.
So,
Can I use my hands?
actually,
to
I
do
would put
that?
some of the butter into the flour.
Okay,
We'll
got
do
it,
that
and
first,
work
and then we'll
backwards.
whisk in what we can
Yeah, just like a
beyond
couple.
that. So yeah,
This
just
is
a
like
couple
a
pieces.
cheater version of a roux.
Right. So
Right?
it's an uncooked roux
Okay.
until it gets in there. So it just kind of thickens the sauce a little bit.
So if you're not eating this, I'm just going to do it the way I would at home with my
That's-
hands.
Nice clean hands.
bit
It's
in
fine.
there.
It's fine.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's called a beurre meunier,
Yep.
which you just work a little flour, butter, and then whisk it into your sauce when it's done. And it does a pretty good job of thickening and making it really nice and velvety
Terrific.
at the end there. And then we may whisk a little more butter in there
Great.
too, because
I'm just making a good old mess.
why wouldn't we? It's brunch. It's fine.
Great.
So then for poaching the eggs,
I got more on my fingers than I. Don't do what I'm doing. If it were colder,
smells
it'd be
pretty
easier.
good, by the way. You guys getting a waft of it
Oh,
over
I
there?
can smell it. They
Send
smell
it your way.
amazing. They smell amazing.
For poaching the eggs, I have a little trick for you. Like I said, you can poach them a day ahead. Hold them, rewarm them for service, which is great because if you're having a brunch, you're having people come over, it's always kind of hard to be in your kitchen poaching all the eggs, making all the food, making the
Yes.
Benedict, and they're drinking all of your wine and your champagne and your Bloody Marys.
And
all
your
your
wa-
guests
yeah.
are having a grand old time without you.
Right.
And you're slaving away. So this is a really easy way to be able to pull that off.
Okay, terrific.
First, I have a waffle iron yelling at me.
It is. Beautiful, though, fluffy.
Nice, fluffy waffles. I think I'm going to give it another second
Yeah.
here. I may have put a little too much batter in there.
Okay.
The first waffle is the
practice
chef's
round.
waffle, by the way.
Yeah.
With the poaching liquid, we want it to be poaching temperature, which is a little bit lighter than a simmer.
Okay.
So poach, simmer, boil. It's just temperature that changes there. So simmer, we know there's movement happening
Some
on
bubbles.
the top here. So it's a little high
Okay.
for what I'm looking for here. But I'm going to add some salt to it, and I'm going to add some other things. So we'll adjust as we go.
Right.
So a little bit of salt.
Can I whisk this in as we're
Yes,
just bring
yes,
this to simmer and then
absolutely.
whisk? Okay.
I trust you.
All right.
A little bit of vinegar.
Tell me, yeah, you think it makes a difference?
Here's the trick.
Okay.
Yeah, so with the vinegar, it's going to help to set the protein of the egg white.
Okay.
So if you think of ceviche.
Yep.
Has anybody had ceviche?
I love ceviche.
I'm not giving you any today, but if you've had it, you can understand. Has anybody made ceviche? All right, so a few of you have. So you can kind of watch, some people call it the cooking process, but it's the denaturing process of the proteins.
Okay.
So basically you add acidity to the fish.
Yeah.
Acidity to the egg white, which is both protein, and you can see it start to firm up and change color.
Okay.
So without even any heat, you can do that.
You can do that.
So a little bit of vinegar in here will help to tighten those whites pretty quickly,
Okay.
which will keep it in a tighter little pod.
Look prettier.
Yes, it'll look
Great.
a lot prettier.
Okay.
If you don't put it in there, then you may end up with, a real spread out egg white.
Right.
So once we have our vinegar in there, I'm at poaching temperature. You can see itty bitty bubbles.
Tiny, it looks like a champagne
But
glass.
yeah, champagne bubbles, barely moving the surface of the water itself.
Okay.
Or the poaching liquid,
Right.
as it were. And then I put my egg in a little cup here, and I'm going to lower the egg, and I
she's
just touch
fancy.
the water with the bottom of the cup, which starts to temper the egg a little
Stop it.
bit. And then you want to drop it really close, because if you drop it from up here, it'll spread out a lot.
Right.
So I drop it, and I go bloop.
What? I have never done that
And
with the glass.
you have to have the sound effect, though.
You do.
Yeah, it never works without the sound effect.
I'm learning so much.
This is the part that makes people really nervous because
Right.
it's still spreading out and it looks kind of funky. And you're thinking, when I go to the restaurant, it's all this perfect little packet there for me.
Right.
How did I screw this up?
You didn't.
There's 2 whites to an egg. 1 yolk, 2 whites. Well, sometimes 2 yolks, but that's a different story. But there's 2 whites. There's the thick and the thin albumin. The thin albumin really spreads out. If you were to break it on a plate and lay it flat,
Yeah.
you'd see yolk, white, white. And it just looks like liquid. So that thin albumin is what is spreading out, and we remove that before we give it to you.
Ah.
So I'll show you that trick. What I'm doing here is just with a slotted spoon, I'm making sure that that egg can still move around a little
Okay.
bit.
Yeah, so you wouldn't put in a couple into this size pan, like too hard to maintain,
You
do you
could.
think?
I'll do another one in there.
Okay.
But I'm going to do another trick just to keep
Look at
it special, keep
Right.
it interesting.
I haven't done this since
Yeah.
culinary school.
So if you take your egg and you break it through this little strainer, the thin albumin falls through the strainer.
Oh my gosh.
The thick albumin stays in the strainer with the yolk, and it goes into the pot. Then you don't have to clean up that thin albumin later.
Amazing.
So good
Beautiful.
fun times.
How am I doing on my sauce? What do you think of the texture?
It's beautiful.
More
And
butter?
it smells pretty amazing.
Smells really good.
See? Yeah. I think we're good.
We're really happy in this corner.
See, we even brought a swap out, but we don't even need it.
Oh my
You
gosh,
rocked
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
We have the swap
See,
out.
I was ready for anything.
Okay, good. Then I'm gonna mess around with. I'm gonna add a little more butter.
Yeah, you can do what you want.
Do what I want.
So
We'll serve
I'm
it
just going to
afterwards.
do a little jiggle here. That guy, I was just making sure he wasn't stuck to the bottom.
Okay.
Because then the yolk on the bottom part will get a lot more cooked than the rest of it, and
Right.
it's got unevenness. And this guy, I just got rid of some of that.
Gorgeous.
I'm going to go bloop,
Gorgeous.
bloop, just like that. So while that one starts to set a little bit, I'll check out the other guy and see how we're doing.
Can you put a time to this process, or
You could, but your temperature in your water is going to vary a little bit
Yeah.
from person to person. So
Right.
I always hate to put those absolutes on anything
Yes.
and I just like to show you what I'm looking for.
right?
Like the burning of the waffle over here. That's what I'm looking for.
We need another hand. I can help.
Unplugged the waffle iron. So
They
the
look amazing. You're gonna be happy with these.
yeah, oh yeah, they do
Yeah,
look
they
really
look
pretty.
great.
So the egg, if I jiggle it here, you can see that it's jiggling quite a bit.
Right.
So those whites are really, really, really jiggly. So
Okay.
I'm going to set it back in for a minute.
Yeah.
And make sure this other one is free to move about
Okay.
as it would like to.
Yeah. Oh, that one just
Yeah.
looks, since you strained it, it's already perfect.
Yeah, it looks quite different. And I
Wow.
will get that one to look nice and pretty as well.
course.
But this was a little less effort because I went through the strainer.
Right.
Now, to do it the day ahead.
Yes.
This is the big tip here,
Okay.
right? To do it the day ahead or, a couple hours ahead of time, you cook them till almost done, where those whites are almost set. You put them in a bowl of ice water. They cool down, they stop cooking. You put the bowl of ice water in your refrigerator, you forget about it for a day. You come back, you pull the eggs out of that water, put it right into this water, or some more warm water for
Yeah.
that matter, rewarm the eggs. And the way I test it is I'll just grab my egg out of there. And again, the jiggle test is always good, but if you just want to make sure it's warm, I put the back of my finger on the yolk
Okay.
and feel it because I'm very sensitive here.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not so sensitive on the tips of my fingers, but the back of my finger I am. And I can feel how loose the yolk is and how warm the yolk is at
Right.
the same time. And so you just rewarm them. And you can rewarm them all at the same time, basically, because they're
Okay.
not going to stick to each other. They're already set.
See, this is why I could never go on like a cooking competition show because I'm afraid that someone would make me poach eggs and then put them in ice water and have to redo it.
I couldn't
I'd
do
mess
it because
up.
I would talk too much. Yeah.
It's not a bad thing in what we do right now, right? That's part of the joy of it.
All right.
But gorgeous.
So I think I
Okay.
turned my temperature down just a little bit much, so I'm going to let that go a little bit more because they're not quite set. I'll grab my waffle. I'll grab my bowl. We'll be
So we
ready
could do,
to
I'm
rock.
thinking about how I would really do this at home, and you could do the sauce the day before, you could poach your eggs and just warm them the day of.
Mm-hmm.
You could do the dry ingredients separately from the wet the day before,
Right.
and then just mix that and have a little waffle station going.
Yeah, and with the waffle, what you can do as well is
Gorgeous.
you can do them before your guests arrive, put them on a wire rack on a pan, and set them in a low oven so they stay nice.
And they'll stay nice.
They'll stay warm and crispy if you put them on a rack.
Terrific.
So I've got my pretty little waffles here.
The Mickey Mouse.
I told you I have no sensitivity in that part of my fingers. I can do that.
You really don't.
Yeah, nothing. I got nothing.
You've been working without bar mops for
And
a while.
these, I can just break them apart, and if I want to make them nice and clean and perfect,
You can.
I can, or use a knife and cut it even more
Right.
perfectly. Whatever you feel like, whatever your speed is that day. It depends on what happened last night. How many of you were at the gala? Oh, congratulations on making it here
I
this morning
know,
is all I
know.
can say.
I was in bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. I was there.
Not gonna lie.
I went there.
8 o'clock. Oh,
All right. Check these babies. So if this guy is pretty good,
That's gorgeous.
I'm going to set him in the ice water for a second because I
Just
want to
to
show you
stop.
how to trim that one up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This guy, we'll check and see what's going on with this guy. Still a little loose,
Right.
right? We'll let him
Come
keep
back
going
in.
while I play with the other one.
Okay.
How are we doing on time? Am I
You're doing great.
All right.
You're doing absolutely great.
So, what you can do, again, you can use a knife if you'd like to. I always recommend storing it in the water because then if you then put it on a plate and try and get it off the plate, you're going to have broken eggs.
Right.
But what I do is I use a spoon like this that has a little bit of an egg shape,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that once I get
Get in under it.
this on here and get rid of those ice cubes,
Yeah.
I can maneuver it to the side of the spoon and use the side of the spoon,
Oh, wow.
which has a little bit of a
Terrific.
curve to it,
That's
to
so
try
easy.
and trim off the pieces.
You make it gorgeous.
And
You
there
make
we
it
go.
Oh, wow.
And then this stuff you just
Kinda
kind of
wipe
wipe off, and
Okay.
everything is hunky dory.
Okay.
And then you have a nice pretty egg, which I
Okay.
will rewarm,
Okay.
and then we'll serve this dish.
Amazing. And as she plates that up, Dory from Treasury Wine Estates, would you mind sharing a little bit more about the Viognier that we're tasting today?
Sure can, no problem.
I enjoy.
What we have here today is our 2018 Napa Valley Viognier from our Stag's Leap Winery.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to highlight our classic stone fruits, offers a silky texture, acidic, and it's very crisp.
Yeah, I would also, I love this. It's like a nice way to wake up while we're here. I would love the Etude Pinot that you've been serving all weekend as well with it. It would be a
Oh, that would be
delicious wine to
fantastic.
go with this. So if you get a chance to come back and try the wines later today too, there's a gorgeous Pinot that would work for this dish. Okay, Chef, it's looking
right.
pretty beautiful.
Getting these eggs out of here. I got to say also, we trim this up. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Your first egg is always a little bit wackadoodle.
Tricky,
Yeah,
right?
It's always a little
We can have
weird.
practice eggs. I just eat my homework, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And so I'm just using a nice absorbent non-lint towel to get some of this moisture out of here. I
Okay.
hate it when you order poached eggs somewhere
it's
and then it's all
water.
in this water and
I
stuff.
agree.
I don't want to dilute my sauce.
Yeah.
So eggs go in the dish.
Andrew,
like
I'm
so.
sitting here wondering how you can make films about different subjects after you've hit on food and wine. Like, nothing could be this much fun, right?
I don't know how I'm going to.
No.
I mean, it was really fun to have a long night of filming, and Bobby's tired and we're tired.
Everyone's
and he's
tired.
gonna service, and then a chef whips up some dish, and the three of us would sit down and
just
he'd pour a glass of wine, and it was like,
perfection.
this is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I love he shared the news with me that you were acquired by Som. Will you share where this film is going to be accessed for everybody?
Yeah, you'll be able to see it on Som TV. We don't
big
have an
deal.
exact date yet, but
Congratulations.
thanks.
It's a
We're
big
super
deal.
excited.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. That's great. Maybe you'll do more around this industry once,
I would love to.
right?
I would love
We're
to.
fun. We're a fun bunch.
That we are.
Sometimes. A little crazy.
That we
So
are.
now arugula.
Yeah, a little bit of arugula. And I'm just going to grab some of it and place it on my dish and drizzle a little bit of garlic oil on it.
Oh, gorgeous. I'm laughing because your countertop looks like my Whole Foods grocery cart. I buy about 10 ingredients, always the same.
Right.
You're always going to find this arugula and shallots and olive oil in my cart. It's crazy, but it's beautiful. I love these greens for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful
Yeah,
complement
the
to
nice
the
little
waffles.
pepperiness. So I just want to lightly coat it with a little bit of oil. And you can do a little bit of lemon juice, too. I wouldn't,
Okay.
if I'm pairing it with a specific wine, I wouldn't want to go too crazy with that. We already
Right.
have acidity in the sauce itself.
Wow.
So a little bit of that. Of course, we want a little bit of salt and pepper to finish the eggs and the salad.
Stunning. I've never once thought to poach in red wine.
And then a little bit of bacon if you like
Okay.
it. 'Cause
Yes,
it's
please.
brunch. So we're going to put that over there.
Stunning.
And a little bit of parsley just to show off the herbs.
You know what? I love that. On an egg with the wine sauce that can be a little bit, flat in color, just a little herb makes all the difference in your presentation. Yeah, enjoy it while you can, right? This is stunning. Can everybody see the finished dish? People can fight for it
know if that
afterwards.
helps you.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for making this.
My
for us.
pleasure.
Really
It
love
was
it.
fun. Thank you all. And thank you for that movie.
Oh my gosh,
That was-
right? So inspiring.
That was, yes, definitely.
Do any of you have questions about the film or the food before we break? Yes?
Never seen doing the folded egg whites for the waffles. Do you do that for pancakes also?
Not usually for pancakes. Sometimes you can if you want them really, really fluffy. But
Like
a lot
Dutch
of times
baby?
it's used in the in the
right?
Dutch babies and things like that, where you really want them to kind of souffle up. Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific. Yes?
I just wanted to ask what restaurant in Boulder is.
Oh, which restaurant in Boulder? The name?
Frasca.
Frasca. Frasca.
Yep.
Yeah. Terrific. Anything else? Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, and I want to thank everyone who's making this whole thing possible. Monogram and Blanc Creatives, DeLonghi, Whole Foods, Treasury Wines, thank you so much.
And
Have
Paula
a great
LeDuc
afternoon.
for,
And Paula
Paula
LeDuc
LeDuc
Catering for
for
cooking every
creating those
sample.
tastes for you.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you. And thank you
thank you
so
guys.
much, Chef Sandy. We loved having you here.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. I loved it.
Thanks, guys.